It is 12:02. I will call this meeting to order of the Williamson County Emergency Services District Number 3. And if we will rise for the invocation and pledge. Stephen, if you'll lead us in the invocation, sure.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for giving us another day of life, Father God, another opportunity to serve you, Father God, and ask for your protection for all our men and women in our fire department, Father God, that you put a hedge of protection around them, Father God, and you be with us as commissioners as we make decisions for our community, Father God. Continue to work in us and through us. All these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Let the words come to me.
The words.
Is that for me? Because I don't know.
Most people, if they're not part of the school district, sadly don't know the Texas words. All right. Do we have any signed up for public comment?
No, sir.
Okay. We did have a couple of ones that were emailed in.
I will go over those during my.
Oh, you are? Okay, so
Yep.
these are not
Yep, I'll
for
do that in
public
my
comment.
comment.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving straight into our presentations. We have a presentation from Tim Kraus with TCDRS.
So commissioners, if you will allow me, a couple months ago, we talked about the retirement system, and what you wanted was to get someone from TCDRS to come and speak, and so this is Tim. He is our representative. It's yours, Tim.
All right, thank you very much, Chief. Good morning, or actually good afternoon, and thank y'all for having me here this afternoon. I know that y'all got a pretty full schedule. I want to try to explain how this plan works, answer any questions you might have, and show you a couple of items in there. In the folder itself, I have a PowerPoint presentation. I say this every time. I promise I won't go through every single page, but I do want to highlight the plan itself. On the left-hand side, there is another form with a lot of numbers on it. It's called our plan assessment. This is the actuarial valuation of the plan. So let me go over the plan real quick, make sure we have a basic understanding of it, and then we'll go into that plan assessment. So we've been providing retirement since 1967 to our counties and districts. We have every single county in the state of Texas. We have almost 600 districts that we provide retirements for. So we've been doing this for a long, long time. In fact, we'll be celebrating our 60th anniversary here in a year or so. We were set up by the Texas legislature. We are regulated or governed by a 9-member board of trustees. Our operating costs, just to give you an idea, we've got about a $57 billion portfolio. But our operating costs, that includes paychecks for the staff, our managers' fees, our investment fees, et cetera, are about 15%, 0.15% of our total assets. We do receive absolutely no funding from the state of Texas. So when we get when the legislature meets and they start talking about we've got to change this, we got to change that, we are not in that conversation, and we do have representatives on the Capitol floors knocking on doors, making sure that everybody understands this. What I want to try to go to is in this PowerPoint, this page right here, I believe it's page 6, possibly. It's got the 3 little coins on top. This is what makes our plan so unique. We have 3 major points to this plan. The first is being that we are a savings-based benefit. That simply means that the retirement that's going to be derived from the employees is based solely on what they have contributed to this plan. So as the employees are saving for this plan, so is the district saving for the plan and to pay that lifetime benefit into the future. This plan is requirement by the district to fund it responsibly. This district and all the other districts and counties must pay 100% of the required rate every single year. We don't have any payment holidays. If you can't afford the plan, then we're going to require you to either reduce the plan or terminate the plan. Okay? And then finally, what's so unique about this plan is that you as the board are the decision makers. Y'all are the owners of this plan, and you have a lot of flexibility and control. As I said earlier, you do have the opportunity to review these benefits. You can increase benefits, you can decrease benefits if costs get too expensive. You can also determine how and when your employees become eligible to retire. And you have tools available to you that you can actually keep your rates as stable as possible. It's called an elected rate, or even an additional contribution if the board wants to put money towards this plan to reduce your rates. So you have all these choices, but the choices are going to be yours. We do not require anything other than what is required from you. If you choose to do more, then that's going to be the decision by the board, okay? So as a savings-based benefit, you allow your employees to save at 7% of their paycheck each and every pay period, and it goes towards their retirement plan. They have an account. We encourage all of the staff to get online, create an account so that they can actually see how much money they have in this account. This is all pre-tax savings, so that this account will show this. And then at and when they do actually retire, the district is going to provide them a match of 250% based upon their final account balance. Once they become eligible to retire, they are guaranteed a lifetime monthly benefit for themselves, and with a 250% match. If they do not retire and they withdraw their money, this match goes away. So what happens to that money that the district was saving for them? It goes back into the district's account to fund future retirements. So we call that a rate lowering effect on this plan. People withdraw their money and pull their money out, your rates tend to go down a few points.
Can I ask you a quick question?
You bet.
On the slide that says 7% is deposited into your account and earns 7% interest?
Yes, sir.
Is that just a flat 7%?
It's a flat 7%. It's by state statute that these accounts are paid 7% interest. On December 31st is our fiscal year end. We take a look at the January 1st balance, and we award that 7% compounding interest to that account. So as we all know that compounding interest, it's not get rich quick, but it rewards those people that stay here 10, 15, 20, 25, even 30 years down the road. That's when the compounding interest really starts to snowball effect on us. But that 7% is by state statute.
And I'm assuming there's some sort of like depository that happens, so there may be some years where you actually yield a higher percentage, some years would be a lower, which would even it out, so 7% is always guaranteed?
7% is always guaranteed. It is paid directly to these accounts every single year, regardless of our returns. So we have that $57 billion portfolio. We strive to assume a 7.5% return each and every year. Now, that would be a miracle in itself if we could do that every single year. We realize life happens, markets change, corrections occur. So what we do is that 7% is guaranteed to each employee. If we achieve less than the 7%, 7.5% from our investments, employer rates tend to tick up a little bit. So there's always that balancing act when we come to what the employer pays and what our investments return. If they return better than they have, so we have in the past 3 years returned over 10% on our investment. So what happens is that we have more than what's expected. So our board allocates additional monies to your plan. So that in turn reduces your rates, stabilizes your rates, and makes that scale even. Did I answer your question?
You did, and then I have a follow-up question. Maybe this is to you, Chief. So these are pre-tax deposits, which means when people vest and become retirement age, they're going to be paying taxes on the benefit, correct?
Of what they take out on an annual basis.
So whatever their pension check is would be taxed, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Is
So-
it taxed as income?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's a pre-tax deposit, so it lowers your taxable income as you're working. I guess a wondering I have is there something that we are doing to educate people on how to better position themselves for retirement age, so that when they do start taking that benefit, they're not paying a substantial higher tax than what they would have anticipated? Because in some places, you might actually, your retirement benefit might be your actual, like on this 2-pager, on page 2, it looks like some people, it's possible that you would get 100% of your final salary in retirement.
Do we have a program that we're doing that? No, we have not. Primarily because we are a very young organization. We only have probably 4 people that are within that retirement age. Those 4 people are aware, but as far as the rest of the organization, we have not.
And I would only comment that Jason, I know, and I have talked, and even though we as commissioners can't recommend, we have encouraged the union to bring in outside financial advisors to give our firefighters Finance 101. What are other ways they can maximize their retirement, not just this particular benefit, but what else could they do? Because they also are Social Security recipients, so they've got that coming at 65 or whenever they pull it out. But I know Jason's got a couple of appointments with some finance people, and I think that's a good thing that the union, in partnership with the administration, can do to help educate for that to happen down the road. You said that the state mandates the 7% by statute, but the state doesn't participate in any COLAs whatsoever, like TRS or ERS or any of those?
That is correct.
So this is 100%?
It's 100% employer funded, and so let me take it to this next step and maybe explain a little bit. So as the employees are contributing their 7% into the plan, we have to actuarially value your plan every single year. We have to make sure that you're funding it appropriately, so when that next person becomes eligible to retire, the money is going to be there. We will never ask for a check or lack of payment. We need to, catch up. The money will be funded if you pay that required rate. What we do when that money comes in, the money from all of our employers, and it's 940 employers that we currently have, employees' money, we pool the money for investment purposes alone. That's what brings us to that $57 billion. We are able to invest in different asset classes. We are very aware that we are the caretakers of the money. We're not the owners of the money. And that after each year, that 7% comes out to pay the employees or the members' accounts. Whatever's left over, we will fund the employers' accounts, all right? So as you can see on this page here with the little dollar bill, that 74 cents almost out of every retirement dollar that is paid comes from our investments alone. 15 cents comes from the employers' contributions, and 11% comes from the employees. So investments plays a major role in our plan. The next page, we encourage and we plan for a highly diversified portfolio. As you can see here, we got credit, we got private equity, we got equities, we got real assets, we got real estate. We even have some bonds and cash on hand. The purpose of the diversification of this plan is that we are responsibly, or we are legally liable to provide that 7% statute, okay? So a well-diversified portfolio has a very low to zero correlation between each asset class, which simply means that if one thing, say our credits, has a major correction and we don't return as much, the other 6 asset classes will not be impacted as if we had put everything in one basket, eggs in one basket, so to speak. We review this on a quarterly basis. This is passively and actively managed. We review with our board, our investment structures. We bring our managers into the office and we review what they've promised and what they have produced. And then the board makes recommendations if we increase what we need to do or if we go hire some new managers on this. As you can see, we want to make sure that we are achieving what we are achieving, not because we say so, but we compare ourselves to benchmarks within the industry itself. As you can see on this page, the historical investment returns, our 5-year returns was about 9.7%. Our 30-year return was about 7.7%. The benchmarks are below us, entities that are very similar to us and how they performed in the same markets as we did. So we have a pretty good grasp that not only are we doing well, but we are doing as well or better than the people that we compare ourselves to. And then this last page is a historical return starting back from 2006 all the way up to the present. As you can see here, we try to achieve that 7.5% return. As you can see, back in 2007 and 2008, we couldn't sell water to a fisherman because it just wasn't working. We had a negative 29% return, but you could see the return, the rebound on the following year of 2008, a 26% return. When we look at our investments, we look at this gray area. This is our area of risk. We feel that over the long term, if we can land our returns within that area of risk, and that goes down to a negative point, and I don't have my glasses on, so I apologize. I think it's a negative 5 or 6%,
Yeah.
all the way up to almost 20. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't read this. 18%.
19.5, yeah.
If we can fall within that general range with our investments, we are confident that over the long term, that 7.5% will be achieved, if not exceeded. Okay? Any questions? So what I'd like to do next is to look at that next page, that other, the other handout that I have here. This is called our actuarial assessment. It's a plan assessment for this district. As you can see on the top page, we have your list of benefits. Your employee deposit rate, 7%. Your matching rate is 250%. You have a eligibility rules, a 5-year vest. And let me say something real briefly about the vest. A person must be vested in order to receive that lifetime benefit with the match. If you have somebody that walks in here, I see you have the rule of 75. Somebody walks in here and they're 71 years old and they want to take a job, and they work 4 years and say, hey, I hit 75, I'm ready to retire. You can't. 5 years is the maximum. Now, it's not just 5 years with this district. You can get 5 years from other TCDRS employers. Certain city, if they provide a PMRS, if you work for the state, even if you actually work for a teacher's retirement, that time counts towards vesting and retirement eligibility with this district, and vice versa. So if they leave here and go to work for a state, the time that they worked here will also count towards the state's retirement investing schedule. Okay? These top 2 items, you as the board have absolute control over. You choose what you want your employees to deposit at. That could be starting at 4% all the way up to 7%. The employer matching starts at 100%, goes all the way up to 250%. So every year at this period of time, starting in about April to the end of December, you have that opportunity to review these plans, and if you want to make changes, you can by submitting a customizer agreement to me, and I create the agreement, okay? So you can choose these. Your retirement eligibility rules are at the very lowest, and they cannot be increased. So once you've dropped it down, you can increase it. So you are at a 5-year vest from now on. You are at the rule of 75, which is your age plus years of experience, and then you have a 20 years at any age. That means that somebody, if they came out of high school and started working for y'all at 18 years old, at 38, they're actually eligible for a full lifetime benefit. Now, if they're 38 and we have to pay them out until they're 88, regardless of how much money they made, that benefit's going to be very small because we have to spread it out over their entire lifetime. Okay? Any questions?
Is it normal, or how many of the people invested with y'all do the 250%?
We have over 60 employers that have a 250% match. Most of them are districts. We do have some West Texas counties, oil and gas, that have the 250 as well. Okay, the average is about 200 over all the states. The 7% is the average in employee contribution across the state as well. Y'all do not, we have some optional benefits. You do not participate in the partial lump sum at retirement. All that this does is allows the employee or the retiree to pull a lump sum out of their retirement and still receive a monthly benefit. They can actually pull up to 100% of their contributions and interest in a lump sum and still receive, albeit a very small monthly benefit based upon that match. Okay? Once you have authorized it, it's kind of like the eligibility rules, you cannot rescind it. You also currently offer the group term life insurance policy. It's just a simple term life insurance policy. It pays 1 times the annual salary, tax-free up to the first $50,000. Everything over is taxed as regular income. You do have the opportunity into the future, if y'all are looking at some retirees coming up, you can provide a retiree group term life benefit as well. But since they are no longer participating in the plan, they only receive a $5,000 flat fee, or the survivor, of course, does, if something happens to them. Any questions on the plan?
I do have a
Yes, ma'am.
question. On the bottom, it says that no COLA adjustments have been adopted.
Correct.
Who makes that decision? Is
You.
that our decision, or
Yes.
that's the plan's decision?
No, it is your decision. All the decisions that this plan requires are made by the groups. Y'all are actually the owners of this plan. We're just the administrators, okay? Now, the reason you don't have any COLAs is because COLAs only apply to retirees, okay? Once y'all have retirees, if you want to provide a COLA for them, you can do so. We have 2 different types of COLAs. A flat rate COLA. Right now it's 1%, 2%, or 3% right across the board. We kind of reflect what inflation has done for the year. Or you can do a CPI COLA. It's a consumer price index of inflation. We take a look at each individual retiree, determine what inflation has done to their benefit based on when they retired, and then the district can restore it, starting at 10% all the way up to 100%. Okay? And you have that opportunity to do that also every single year. Just understand, a COLA is considered a plan change, and a plan change is amortized over a 15-year period of time. So your plan is currently being amortized from the base rate. Every time you made a plan change, that we layered a 15 years amortized period on top of that original benefit. So as you look through your plans, you see how many plan changes you made. That's an additional 15 years that's being amortized. So with COLAs, they don't cost a lot of money right up front. You could see your rate tick up 2 or 3 basis points, but you continue to do that over time, and you're going to see your rate starting to increase because you're going to have layers and layers of that unfunded liability that you have to pay off eventually.
When is our first projected class of retirees?
Well, that depends if you kick me out the door.
Hey, anything's possible. I mean, are you the closest one to retirement?
Yeah, there's 4 of us who could
Okay.
go at any time, yes.
Could go at any time. Technically, we all could go at any time.
Yeah.
To be determined.
TBD.
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 That are in this room.
That's right.
I think this quick comment is that when me and Henry and Mary Claire talked about budget, that was kind of a notion they brought up too. When is the first eligible? Like me and Tim talked, like trying to get a number on, and he's gonna do a.
Be sure you use the mic.
To see what the return life, that $5,000 benefit he said once they're retired, what that costs, to give us, for the district to provide that for employees.
We need a floating mic.
Yeah, well, so
She's getting ready.
then that other comment, like you're asking Chief, like when our first eligible, I think we have a couple eligible, we just don't know exactly when they're gonna do it. So they've asked me to conduct a analysis to see what that would cost the district moving forward to provide that group life insurance once they retire. But like Tim said, it'll be kind of like a rough estimate because with the COLA, we can't really get an accurate number on that until they're gonna be in that status of retiree.
And I think to that end, I think it's important for our taxpayers to understand that this is a significant liability that we have to manage. So as we think long-term about growing our fire department, expanding facilities, purchasing equipment, doing our annual budget process, meeting with our union partners, all of that goes into that calculation because it's on the tax base to ensure that this guaranteed benefit, this lifetime benefit, is healthy and that we can sustain it. And so that's an important dynamic that we need to tell the story about as we talk in our community about, you know, the value that we bring as an ESD. So, but I think what you just said is very important that we communicate to our taxpayers, because that's part of the, you know, when we meet with our union colleagues and they're asking for certain demands, we're also having to think about the implications of this plan to ensure that it's very, very healthy for them when they reach retirement. A lot of organizations might give in to certain pressures naturally, and, you know, economy's doing well, we'll give a little bit more, but then 5 years from now, we suffer a downturn, and then oops, you know, so being conservative like this group is doing with the investments is the rule of the game.
And we've discussed this at length in our subcommittee meetings for budget and with union discussions. So just so you know that we've really been discussing this for a while, and that we have had studies done to ensure that we're being good stewards.
Is there any chance at the legislative level, because TRS, ERS, I believe TMRS are all subject to possible state COLAs. On the lobbying side, if we wanted to just simply throw it out there to our legislature, is there, because you're a young retirement system compared to TRS. Right. But you've done pretty well since 1967, and I would commend the leadership today, but also past leaders that have stepped in. But I think as we think about public servants, do y'all participate, or are you allowed to participate in any kind of lobbying effort at the legislature on COLAs? You may not be allowed. The law may not allow you to do that.
I do not believe, based upon the TCRS Act, the policies and procedures that we are governed by, that we don't allow the lobbying. Okay. Since we do not receive any type of funding from the state of Texas, as is, our funding and the COLAs are provided or employer paid.
Employer paid.
Yes, sir.
Might be something, Chief, we think about bringing up at safety and go through the safety process, and, you know, it's worth the conversation.
Okay.
Sure. So I'm going to wrap it up just briefly. As you can see, our retirement plan funding here, the total normal cost of this plan, if it was a truly defined benefit plan, the employer would be paying about 17.68%. Since we allow our employees to participate at this 7% level, that drops this down to 10.68%. UAAL rate, that's an unfunded actuarially accrued liability. That's based upon what has occurred in your plan over the past 20 some odd years, not quite 20 some odd years, probably 15 years. You still have a rate of about 3.02%. That's increasing the cost of this plan. If you were fully funded, you would be paying 10.68. You have 3.02%. So what does that mean dollar-wise? It's about $2.4 million in unfunded liabilities. Now, I don't want people to think, oh my gosh, we're way underfunded. What's going on here? That is normal for our plans, because we do not require anything but the required contribution rate to be able to fund this plan. That required contribution rate is doing, number one, funding everybody's retirement plan. Number two, it's paying down that unfunded liabilities. So when I stated earlier you could do an elected rate or an additional contribution, a lot of boards and courts will look at this and say, what is our philosophy? What do we want to show the public what we're capable of? Do we want to have an 80% funded plan, or do we want to have a 100% funded plan? Then you could initiate some of those tools that we discussed to help better your rate. Your funded ratio is 80.4%. You're right on the money where you should be. Y'all are really a relatively young district in this plan. You know, we've got counties and districts that have been around since the 60s that are not as well funded as this, okay? So you're in good shape. I don't want you to look at that number and think, oh, we're in trouble. That number will be paid off if you do nothing but pay that required rate. If you want to speed it up, you could possibly look at an elected rate, paying a little bit more every month than what is required. That'll give you a stable line item budget for years to come, and it'll pay it down. or if you had additional monies that you want to apply to that, you can. The only thing that I have a problem with the additional contribution, one, it's cash that can be used for the districts, okay? Two, people have a false sense of security with an additional contribution because it pays down that unfunded liability, and you're going to go, wow, our rate's 10.68%. We have a correction or demographic changes in your plan. The next year, you're going to be unfunded again. So I don't want y'all to think that that's the godsend of how to correct the plans. There's no correction needed. I would recommend if you did, I would try to incorporate both, an additional contribution and a higher elected rate, so that whatever you pay, and it doesn't have to be the 2.4 million. We have people that pay $10,000 a year towards it, but it pays that down immediately. The elected rate keeps it down.
Do we book that on our ledger now, that unfunded? Okay.
We do. The auditor's required to do that. They
Okay.
get the annual report from TCDRS, which is in the audit.
Okay.
So, plan changes, any changes to the district's benefits are due December 15th. I will work with Mary Ann or the chief here to do whatever I can. I will tell you that we are going to do a GTL study for retirees. It's kind of unusual because you don't have any retirees, but we're going to assume 3 possibly that will retire and see what the cost of that could be. So you can kind of measure that for the future when you do start to have retirees. Last thing, retiree must be retired a full year before they receive a benefit. So if they decide to retire this year and you pass a colon extra, they're not going to get anything. Okay, so they have to be retired at least a year before they can receive a benefit.
Okay.
Questions?
Just a personal comment, my father was a TCDRS member in Gillespie County, and I appreciate all that you guys
Fantastic. Glad to hear that.
do for counties as well as for our ESDs.
Appreciate it.
Commissioners, let me say too, TCDRS has been a good partner with us. When we got into the program, what we have seen is it has been a good recruitment tool to get personnel into the organization. I had an opportunity many years ago to be a presenter at a TCDRS conference. Andreas is going to the TCDRS conference this year. If any commissioner is ever interested in attending, we can get you to those as well.
Fantastic. July 16th and 17th, a day and a half. We'd welcome you there.
In Austin.
In Austin. At the Arboretum, not downtown.
Even better.
Exactly. Thank y'all very much for
Any
your
other
time.
questions? Anybody have any other questions?
No, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
My card is in that folder. If y'all do come up with questions or concerns, please feel free to call me or email me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim.
All right. Chief, your report?
Thank you, Commissioners. You have a copy of my report in your packet. This is our first shot at electronic packet. Already we see some tweaks we may have to make to the hardware, to the program. I can guarantee you we'll keep making the tweaks, but at least this is saving you and saving us having large amounts of paper
For sure.
going
Thank you.
forward. You will see, one thing I do want to draw to your attention on my report is the lieutenant promotions. On May 15th, we had a lieutenant promotion process. With this class that we are now interviewing for new hires, that will put another engine in service. So the top 3 candidates, Robert Acosta, Dylan George, and Matthew Chavez, when we get those when we get that unit put in place, those will be our next 3 lieutenants going in. Excuse me. The other thing that you should notice here today, and if you've been by here the last several weeks, is this building's getting a lot of use. We have the last of a 3-week hazardous material technician program going on over at the warehouse. Earlier this month, we hosted the Williamson County Fire Chiefs meeting here. Chief Bocanegra with Mary Ann and Chief Woods was able to get that in place. Not at our building, but we also hosted the Texas Commission on Fire Protection, our regulatory agency. We were the host for that over at UCHEC. We have all of our interviews going on right now. They started on Tuesday and going all the way through tomorrow. So the building is being used much more than just when you have a meeting and any office work that we have going on. So that's important that everyone understands and the public understands. This is a very active building that we have here.
For sure.
You do have 2 attaboy letters that we received. You have hard copies of those that came to us from the community. One commending a particular shift, Captain Hines and his folks, and the other just a we do a good job type letter that has come out. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have for me.
Should we read these?
You can if you would like to.
Sure. I think it'd be good for people to hear. As long as y'all don't mind listening to me read. All right, first one is community recognition for Hutto Fire Department number 1. As a proud resident of Hutto, I would like to publicly recognize and thank the Hutto Fire Department number 1 for their outstanding service and dedication to our community. Hutto Fire Department number 1 represents the very best of what it means to serve. Their commitment goes beyond emergency response. They take the time to ensure residents are safe, informed, and cared for in both large crisis and everyday situations. The sense of professionalism, patience, and genuine concern they show builds trust and brings peace of mind to those of us who call Hutto home. What stands out most is their compassion, whether assisting with preventative safety measures or responding immediately during a medical emergency. The team at Hutto Fire Department number 1 approaches every situation with calm expertise and sincere humanity. In moments when residents need help most, they show up without hesitation and with a reassuring presence. Our community is truly fortunate to be served by such dedicated firefighters and medical personnel. Their willingness to go above and beyond does not go unnoticed and reflects positively on the city of Hutto as a whole. Thank you to Hutto Fire Department number 1 for your unwavering commitment, your service, and the care you show to our residents every day. Hutto is safer and stronger because of you. And the other one, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Hutto Fire Department number 1, and especially Captain Hines and his team for the exceptional care and assistance they provided me all in the same day. Earlier that day, Captain Hines and his team came to my home when my smoke alarms were not functioning. They were professional, patient, and incredibly helpful, taking the time to ensure my home was safe and to explain everything clearly. Their assistance with this important safety concern demonstrated genuine care and commitment to the community they serve. Later that same day, Captain Hines and the medical team responded immediately when I experienced a medical emergency. During what was a very frightening moment, they were calm, compassionate, and highly professional. Their quick response, reassurance, and clear communication made a significant difference and provided me with much needed peace of mind. It is truly reassuring to live in a community served by first responders who go above and beyond, not only in emergencies, but also in preventing them. The dedication, professionalism, and compassion shown by Hutto Fire Department number 1 did not go unnoticed and will always be remembered. Thank you for your outstanding service and steadfast commitment to our community. I am deeply grateful.
And Commissioners, this is the type of service you can expect and the community can expect from your firefighters. I mean, they are 100% here for the community.
Agreed. You do a great job. Okay, is that it, Chief?
That's all I have, yes, sir.
Thank you. Assistant Chief Rob?
Commissioners, you'll have my report in your packet. Last month's calls, standing steady on our calls throughout the district in the 4 stations. If you don't have any specific questions to that, I will bring up a question that Commissioner Hubbard had last month. You were asking specifically about what does non-emergent. So I dug into that and found that the calls that are related to canceled en route, false alarms, and good intent calls are comprised of last month's 72 calls categorized in that area. I went a little bit deeper. Public service, the 56 calls we had, comprised of citizen assist, alarms, and smoke detector response.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
The lightning incident from, was it night before?
Two nights ago.
I'm always curious about these solar panels. Was there any solar panels involved in that as far
Not
as?
that I recall.
Okay.
This house, I don't believe, and what I heard had no solar panels.
Okay. I know there's not a lot to do unless you put fire protection on a roof. But I wonder about all these solar panels that are on these roofs, and then the hazmat that comes with that when you guys have to attack that domicile. Thank you.
That was on the far east side, wasn't it? Where that happened?
Yes, it was southeast.
Okay,
Yeah.
just saying. Good coverage over there.
Yeah, got there really, really quick from Station 2's response.
It's great.
I wonder, Henry, you brought up a good point. Is that an opportunity that we can develop some like community education for those households that have solar panels? If there are things that they could proactively do?
Well, I think that, and then you have a whole subdivision now that has those base batteries that are being installed. And I know Eric and his team have gone to specialized training in hazmat. As more industrial moves into this area, that's becoming their reality as far as fighting car fires involving Teslas. So yeah, it may be something that we, I mean, obviously I think our education arm would be able to step in and help provide some assistance there.
We can have Cassie do some research and put some stuff out on social media,
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
working with fire prevention, get that message out.
Good idea.
Just one more thing.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob. Financial report, Andres? We're all gonna tilt our head like this because our report is.
No, you should see it up on the screen here.
You can use the rotate
There
button.
you go.
There we go.
Okay, so let's just, Henry and Mary Claire have been a part of the wages, and Henry and Mary Claire thought it would be a good idea if I kind of explained. So our revenue comes from our property tax revenue and our sales tax revenue, and I'm just gonna kind of highlight a couple of things that I presented to them and I think would be a good idea for the understanding of the budget as we get into budget season and we had budget requests come in and me and Chief start our budgeting. So we have to look at our revenue, and our revenue comes from. So we're gonna first look at property tax revenue. We're gonna look at estimated, and why I'm looking at 25 and versus a certified of 25 is because when me and Chief go to entity meetings, they give us a very kind of like estimate of what's going on, and the certified roll doesn't happen until July 23rd. Pending that the appraisal district's numbers are accurate, it usually takes a day or two, and then we'll look at trends, and then we'll look at the current property tax revenue value that they had given us in the end of March. So the number, the 10 million was 25s in March at the entity meeting, what they gave us, and it's kind of like a rough number. And then when they give us a certified roll, you look at there, it's in July, and the chief appraiser gives us, and it's less the 300,000. And that basically is from protest. When the homeowner is giving their property tax value, they're able to protest. So once the protests are done, then they come out with a final evaluation. In 25, the difference in the estimated number and the certified number was about 7%. This current year, well, I'll get to that. But so then this was my estimate for this current year, was about 10.4. And if you can kind of see the difference in the percentages at the bottom, the percent of change, it's kind of come down. But that was because, if we all know, during COVID, you know, home values were very, very skyrocketing. When we went to the entity meeting with the chief appraiser of Williamson County, as we know, I guess y'all probably got your property tax evaluations, it's kind of leveling off. So this kind of shows a percentage where the home values are not skyrocketing anymore. They're kind of plateauing out. And that kind of shows the trend here with this graph is over the years we kind of went up, and now we're kind of plateauing out with the home values. And so this is basically what we're starting point for me and Chief with the property tax revenue is at this 10.7 number. I have estimated in this previous slide that I think it's going to probably be about a 10.4 number. The 10.4 number is probably just a rough estimate of the certified roll number. Like I said, comes out in July, comes from the chief appraiser. So we really don't know, but I don't think it'll change too drastically this year. From the entity meeting, the chief appraiser has said because the values have dropped a lot, the protest season shouldn't be as crazy as it normally has. Because like I said, we've seen in COVID where values had gone up from like almost 20-30%. So a lot of people were protesting their values, and that number could drastically decrease. And then we're going to go to sales tax revenue, the fiscal years, and then trends. So this is a little small, but this just gives us a lot of evaluation of where our sales tax has been year over year for the last I think 5 or 6 years. And me and Chief have always tried to get this number pretty close, but you know, these numbers come from people spending money in the community, and with the current state of the economy, with gas being the way it is and being able to travel and interest rates being where they are to be able to buy homes and everything. This current year, me and Chief just had a discussion about it, was the current year in 2025 is we didn't use all of it. HDL, our sales tax company, predicted 8.4. We only used that 8.1. That's the 3.4% change this year. And then if we look at the trends that we are getting, the percent of payments for this year, I know we only have 6 payments from sales tax revenue, but if you look at the payments from 24-25 to 25-26, we're kind of trending a lot less than last year. And so that's just based off of the economy and gas prices and interest rates and everything else that goes going forward. So that's why I just kind of wanted to give a rough estimate of where the sales tax was this year and where property value revenue was looking for. And that was just a rough kind of estimate based off of our budget. When I work with Stephen usually and Mary Claire, when we look at the budget, you know, those are our 2 big sources of revenue, is the property tax revenue and the sales tax revenue, and just trying to really manage where we think that's going to be year to year. And like I said, usually we don't, HDL predicts a number and it's very kind of conservative, but me and Chief go a lot more conservative than what HDL predicts that we should get. So
I know in our discussions, we discussed the implications of the sales tax sharing agreement and when that officially kicks in, about what, 60 days after it was ratified? I don't remember what the comptroller's rules are.
I don't remember.
But we did see some numbers, and it might be helpful as we get deeper into the budget process. When that new agreement kicks in, that's going to change a geography that previously wasn't paying into that calculus, that we're going to need to show that
Right.
40% share that we get and then the 60% that Hutto gets.
So commissioners, I might also say, Stephen went with Andreas and I to the appraisal district meeting. By law, they're supposed to have their finalized numbers to us by July 25th. That doesn't mean that they will be final. Because if you remember, the last couple years, we've had at least 2 amendments. Some of those have been caused by other entities, such as school districts, laws that went in place for school districts, lawsuits. They generally will get sued every year by apartment complexes. They just understand that. Where they have gotten much better at is on the challenges that they have, because now all of those protests can happen online, should they choose, as opposed to having to go in front of the appraisal board to protest them. They've gotten a lot better and their numbers are a lot closer. So again, when we get to meeting with the budget committee, we'll, up until July 25th, we're still in that moving dollars here and there. When we meet with the budget committee, as long as the appraisal district doesn't come in and say we're going to make another change, we should be pretty solid on what our revenues are going to be.
Okay. Any questions? No. Okay. Thanks, Andres. All right. Fire Marshal report.
Good afternoon. So there's really nothing significant, no significant changes to report. We're holding pretty steady. We have been the last several months. We close out some projects. We get new projects come out. We're still, we're about 186, 190 current projects going on right now. But what we did have go on about 10 days ago, we graduated another Citizens Fire Academy class. Awesome. They loved it. We had a great time here for graduation. But per the board's request, you asked that we extend an invite to them to be recognized here today. So as it turns out, we have a couple, and I'd like to call Colt Richardson. He's kind of our Citizens Fire Academy coordinator up here to introduce these folks to you.
Hello, how are you guys? So we just happen to have 2 of my favorite students. What are the odds? Just happen to show up. So we've got Jessica and Luke, and they're 2 of 8 students that graduated our program this year. So we're very excited to have them, and just wanted to bring them up and introduce them, so.
Thank you guys. Can I ask you a question, each of you? Sure. What was something that you learned that you had no idea about how a fire department works?
I want to go first. Something I learned, I suppose it's more so about the city of Hutto specifically. I didn't know it was more so a newer organization. I know that the history of Hutto, although it was informative about how, like I said, how new it was. And I see the comparison with, other departments. I frequent, Austin, San Marcos areas. It's that this district itself is quite up there with technology. I saw y'all have thermal cameras now and stuff, and I didn't even know that was a technology that was introduced for firefighting, which I think is, I think they used it. My next door neighbor had a smoke alarm go off, so they used the thermal cameras for that, and I thought that was I know they want to talk about introducing the technology into helmet visors and everything, and I know y'all have drones. You're talking about drones too, which I think it's goes to show that this district it's quite up there with technology and stuff. I find that really interesting.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was not prepared for this.
That's okay. I know. I cut you
I'd
off
like to
guard.
apologize to both of
Sometimes
you.
it's better when you're not prepared.
I kind of told them to show up. I said, you're not going to have to say anything. So right now they're feeling a little
That's how we're
con, so.
That's all right.
For me, I've always watched the 911 shows, and I've been intrigued about doing it, and it gave me a perspective of what they actually do, and finding the baby. We did one class, and just the different fire extinguishers, and everything to me was I never missed a class because all of it was very interesting. And actually, my daughter is going to be doing one of the classes starting next month, I believe. And I'm trying to get my son into doing that Fire Explorer too, my 17-year-old. So we all liked it. I've talked to my family about joining the EMT and the Fire Academy. But I do have an 11-year-old, and she's like, Mom, not yet. I'm too young. So, but it's in the works, so we'll see.
Good. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Didn't you have someone who was looking into career firefighter?
Yes, yeah. So Luke, you were specifically. So he's actually looking into eventually. There was another student that's not here. She's expressed an interest in going into a fire academy. So it's a really good kind of a good pipeline from civilian to firefighter that we utilize. That if kind of stirs and stokes that interest in firefighting. So.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank y'all.
Absolutely.
Sure. Of course. Yeah.
Sure.
Do you want us to stand back here or stand in front, or? Do you want Stephen even though he doesn't have his shirt on?
Yep, I will.
You just look like one of the you're in the class. Thank you all. Thank you for coming out.
Commissioners, and I might also mention, when I talked about the use of the building, Citizens Fire Academy did their graduation here. We've had the Explorer graduation here. So again, a lot of stuff happening here.
Hang on, I have to keep logging in.
Mine works.
I don't know what
Mine
your
keeps
problem
going on.
is. It doesn't
Keeps
like
going
me,
to sleep.
Todd.
He's taking a nap. Okay, training report.
Good afternoon. You can see our training numbers for the various trainings we did in the month of April. I believe it was about 661 hours we had between our internal and external training. Unless y'all don't have any questions about that, Chief also brought up we are currently doing the interviews for our new hires. I think we brought 33 total to the interview process. And we'll be finishing them up tomorrow and moving on to the next step.
Hiring how many?
9.
9?
Yes, sir.
Great. What is May Day Monday?
We use pretty much every Monday to go over May Day training. So firefighter down training, self-rescue, all that kind of stuff. And we just named it May Day Monday. And it's just a reminder every Monday. Let's kind of focus on saving ourselves as well.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you. Any
Yes, sir.
questions? Okay. Huddle Professional Firefighter Association report. Jason?
Morning. Nothing real new going on. We met with Henry and Mary Claire to go over our salary stuff for the contract. Everything went well. Both sides agreed, no issues. On another note, as far as the absurdity at the city, I just want to let the ESD know that Local 4707 has their back 110%. So if there's anything you need from us, just reach out. So.
The feeling is mutual.
So I just wanted to make it public.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions for me?
None? Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Okay. Explorers report.
Everything's going well. We have about 15 recruits. We're going to take about 10 applications, so pretty soon we'll be doing an interview process. Application closes June 30th. And as you can hear, one of our citizens just graduated the Citizens Fire Academy. One of her family members is about to be in the Junior Fire Academy, and if the other family member processes through the interview process, we might have her son in the Explorer. So we might have a full year, 1 full year of a whole family go through all of our
That's cool.
programs. So
Yeah.
I don't know, it's pretty exciting about Williamson County C3 do that for the community. So it's exciting to see a different program. So thank you all for supporting it. Thank you.
Yep.
I
Thanks,
have a
sir.
question about Explorers real quick. Is it for all 4 years, or is it just if they don't join their freshman year?
So we only accept them from basically when they graduate 8th grade, they're eligible at 9th grade. They have to be age 14 to 18. So if you're an 11th grader going into your senior year, you can join. If you're a senior, we can't recruit at that age because you're about to graduate and you'll be out of ineligible through the Scouting of America. That's their rules and regulations. So you have to be in 9th grade through 11th grade to be in the program. Is that the question?
But do you have to join in 9th grade?
You have to
Could you
reapply.
join in 11th
So
grade?
the program is dependent on each agency of how they decide to run it. The way we chose to do our program, we chose that each year the Explorer, when they graduate, they'd have to reapply. So, you know, we want to be able to maximize the most youth from our community. And so to maximize the most youth and to give them the exposure to a fire career, we feel like if we can get 10 new ones every year, that's 10 future fire service members, right? So we want to let them know is the fire service career for them, and if it is for them, you know, that's what the Explorer program is for, is to introduce them to that. So we like to try to get the 10, so you can reapply back for the program again, and if you pass the interview and go through the process, you can possibly make it 2 years in a row, or 3. So.
What we do allow for our Explorers, so is once they graduate, they're free to do write-outs with us. I got a big mouth, I shouldn't. They're free to do write-outs with us. We sign some liability forms and things like that, so we do keep them involved as we go. But I forgot to report one other thing. We've got the Junior Fire Academy coming up June, next month. And so this Sunday, we've actually got an orientation here in this building where we're bringing in a bunch of folks, have questions, bring in their kids, kind of like we do for Explorers and Citizens Fire Academy. I just forgot to mention that.
Yeah, that's great.
Perfect, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
And
Mr. President, I
let
was
me
gonna-
add to the Explorers Commissioner, if I can, the day they did the recruitment program, this room was packed. Every chair in this room was packed with family, the potential explorers, those that were at the age for the Junior Fire Academy. And we had lots of questions of, what do I do to get a career in the fire service? So it was really a good jumping off point to get those young men and women to get their EMT and then go to a fire academy.
Awesome. Henry?
I was just gonna comment, I was a judge at STEM Nation this year, and I know you guys put in a lot of time after hours on weekends to make these programs viable for our community, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. Y'all had a great presence at STEM Nation. I was judging some high school projects, but y'all being there, and I know you serve in other areas and go out and really promote fire safety, and obviously this is a great pipeline for us in the future as far as growing firefighters. Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay. On to commissioner reports. Go down the lines. Anybody have anything they would like to report or say? Any of you? Henry? You had that look like you had something.
No.
Okay.
I made comments earlier in the discussion about the discussions we've had with the union on the labor, and I know that's going to make its way into the budget process.
Sure. I've got a couple of things. One, I kind of want to reiterate what you said about how visible you guys are in the community, and specifically, like one thing, I'm on the YMCA board, and last Saturday, the Y had a luau event, and they had invited the fire department to show up, and Eric and some other guys were there, and I will tell you, the director of the Y she's new, she's been here for less than a year, she came from Houston, and she was blown away that you guys showed up for that, just to be a part of it, and I told her that's how they are, they're part of the community, so thank you guys for being there, and always showing up. And I think it's part of why ESD just has the reputation they have in this community for being so good. Other thing, I wanted to take a moment. So obviously everyone's aware of all that's been going on with the city, lots of Facebook posts, all those things. And one of the things we as commissioners, I think, have said is we're not going to publicly engage in those Facebook posts as commissioners. We're not going to get into all of that. First of all, ESD does the talking in the community and all that they do. I think that's proven. However, there are things that are sometimes said that I think need to be corrected by certain people on Facebook, and even though I don't go onto Facebook to say them, this is my opportunity to correct a couple of things, so I do want to do that. Specifically, I want to mention three things that the mayor specifically had said that are not accurate or true statements. First of all, he mentioned in a couple of his posts that the ESD had withheld payments that were due to the city. He said the ESD had not paid any sales and use tax to the city. We had withheld it. The truth is that the ESD wrote a check to the city on June 24th of 2025 for $480,000, $480,116. The city rejected that and sent it back to us because they said it didn't cover the amount that we owed. We disagreed with that. That's where part of our disagreement with them was what we thought they owed. They said something different. All of our records indicated that it was what was owed at the time. And while we disagreed on an additional amount, the ESD clearly did not withhold payment to the city. Okay. Second thing, the mayor said the ESD declined property at the mega site that they offered us. Not a true statement. In the discussions that Henry and I had as part of the subcommittee with a couple of the council people regarding the sales and use tax agreement, the possibility of land for a fire station at the mega site was mentioned. However, in our next meeting, they came back to us and informed us that the city actually could not make that offer because they don't own that land. So they could not offer us land at the mega site. That the EDC is the ones that offered that. So that was removed from any subsequent discussions that we had. We couldn't talk about that because our agreement was going to be with the city, and the city was not able to do that. There was never a formal offer of land at the mega site to the ESD from the city or the EDC. It was discussed, never a formal offer. So to say that we declined their offer, not a true statement. And then the other thing that I want to mention, and there are others, but these are just the three. On May 14th, KVU followed up their interview with the mayor by asking me if I was aware of discussions over the last 18 months with the city about them establishing their own fire department. Allegedly, the mayor had, in his interview with them, had said that over the last 18 months that we had been in discussions with them about their own fire department. Clearly, that is not a true statement. That is not accurate. Absolutely not. We haven't, and we wouldn't discuss with them about starting their own fire department. So, just wanted to clear those things up that are out there, because we don't go on to Facebook to clear them, but I wanted to publicly in our thing here mention that. Okay, that's all of my report. On to consent. Hang on, I've got to log back in again. I will, feel free to look at the consent, and I will entertain a motion. Anyone?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, have a motion to approve the consent agenda,
A second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, consent agenda passes. On to our regular agenda items. Number one, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action on the construction of the fire headquarters complex.
Thank you, Commissioners. We received word today that TxDOT approved the purchase of the land, and so now it is moving through all the signatories. Once we get that through here, then I will keep everyone informed, and we're getting close.
Perfect. Awesome. Any questions for Chief on that? Thank you, Chief. Number two, discuss, consider, take appropriate action on the fire chief's evaluation. I had put this on here just, I've talked to Chief and a couple of folks just individually about, do we do an evaluation on Chief? So I asked Chief a little bit of the history of that. And historically, up until 2022, Ann Cano, when she was on this board, kind of led that, the evaluation process for Chief. Since I've been on the board, that's never been done. And I'd actually been thinking about, what do we do? How do we do that? So Chief sent me a copy of what was used in last in 2022. What I would like to do is have copies of that sent to each of the other commissioners so they can look at it and make notes and see if that's the same evaluation tool that we want to continue to use, or if we need to change it in any way. So if you can send that to them, and then if each of you would individually, not as a group, but individually email me your thoughts on that, then at the next meeting we can take the next step in putting that together. Is that, Morgan?
Is there, do we need to, I don't know, like a procedure that it happens at a specific time of year so that it always stays?
Yeah, I think that's what I want to talk about at the next one. I first want to get the kind of the tool, the evaluation itself, kind of get that set, and then we will talk about when should we do that. So yes, I 100% think that it should be done at the same time every year.
And Commissioner Hubbard, depending how that comes back, that may answer your question.
Whether you retire.
Mr. President, I would add that, and again, we won't discuss it today, but as we get into determining what the evaluation parameters are when it's annualized, I'd also like to move to the benchmark best practice of offering a contract as part of that discussion.
Absolutely.
It's not in place today. It's at will, and I think as we grow our department, not only for our current leadership, but down the road for future boards and future administration that is brought in, we ought to look at the best practice of tying this in with contractual obligations on both parties.
Right. I agree with that. And obviously we'll get with John about all of that. So
I have one more question.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
Chief, are you represented also by the union, and do we need to get?
He's not.
No, he's not. Okay.
No.
Are you represented by any professional organization?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments about that? Okay, all right. 3, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action on ECPR proposal. That is the PR firm that presented to us, was it last month? Presented to us last month. Stephen and Morgan were our subcommittee that then met with them to learn more about what they offer and whatnot. So I will let you guys kind of share how your meetings and what information you can bring back to us.
And I'm gonna let Stephen take over.
So yes, Morgan and I met with Chief and Cassie and the ECPR team. A lot of the same information that they presented was given to us. We kind of asked for specifics on how they would work with the ESD, and they presented some information. They did send a proposal that has some of the things that they'll do. I think they're a pretty good company. I think that we may be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves to consider this. While I like a lot of the things that they do, and Morgan may have a different opinion, while they do provide a benefit, I just don't know that at this point is something that us as an ESD should consider. I did ask for, and I don't know if Chief received it, for an option for just video.
I did not.
Okay, because this package here doesn't include video. To create something like what is an ESD, we had talked about that in the past, and creating a video, they said that would fall outside of what they provide in this proposal. And we also can't do an a la carte option, so it's this entire proposal or nothing as far as.
And I will get in touch with them again on the video.
Let me ask John a question. John, on this proposal they gave us where it has costs, is that something we can discuss publicly? We can ask questions about that, or is that something that is confidential for them?
I don't believe it's confidential.
Okay.
We can talk about the legal issues associated with the agreement in closed session if you'd like, but from a dollar amount, that kind of stuff, that's all.
Okay, thank you.
And it is an introductory, like a 3-month trial, 6-month trial?
6 months.
Yeah, so you're not locked into it.
Yeah, so what kind of costs were presented?
For 6 months, it would be $75,000. And reading the proposal, the first 30 days, while we would pay the first 30 days, the $12,500, the first 30 days is to build a foundation. So essentially, we get nothing to put out the first 30 days. So if we're looking at it that way, it's more like $75,000 for 5 months versus 6 months. Granted, that first month is building that foundation, and they are doing something. But I think our idea is we want to be able to put stuff out, and if we can't do it that first month, then it's really 5 months for the $75,000.
Is it a minimum 6-month commitment?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I had asked for the option of maybe doing a la carte options, and they said that they didn't do that, and that's when I asked for the video option. And the video option would be $5,000 for a single video.
Okay.
And videos aren't included in this package. So I will say some of the things that are opportunities that they present are things that I think we as an ESD can do with our PIO. Granted, our PIO is also our fire life safety educator, and her time is split between those two things. But I think sometimes she may be heavy fire life safety educator and other times heavy PIO. So I don't know that we can put a percentage on what she's going to do when. But for instance, creating media relationships. Cassie does have relationships with a lot of the media already, putting things out to, let's say, for example, community impact. And with this proposal, the way I understood it, and correct me if you understood it differently, putting information out to those organizations would incur another cost on top of this. So there's little things within the proposal that I wasn't a fan of. How they do it and what they create looks pretty good, but I do believe that our current PIO, I think Cassie's doing a really good job, and I believe she could even give us, if we wanted to look into it further, give us some metrics on the engagement that we currently have with our social media platforms. I'm sure that's something that she can do if that's something that we're wanting to do. Morgan, I don't know if you got anything you wanted to share differently.
My understanding of there's something like paid free content, I think, is what, there's a term, and this is not my space, so I'm probably butchering that.
Like in
But-
banner, the in banner options.
No, I feel like it's them leveraging their relationships within the media to be able to prioritize some of our information going out. So we wouldn't actually pay for that. They have those relationships. Now, any content they develop for that would obviously be part of our engagement, but I did not understand that to be a separate cost. I may have misunderstood that part.
And that may have been what they said, but reading the proposal, it does seem like anything outside of their, I guess, I can't remember the exact phrase, ECPR network would incur a separate cost of 15%, I believe.
Do they develop content? Does Cassie develop content and give it to them? How does
So
that work?
the expectation would be that Cassie would work with, she would be the main point of contact through the ESD, and she would provide them, they would have meetings, I guess, set up a calendar of what they would want to post, but yes, Cassie would have to essentially not create the entire content, but tell them this is what we want to do. They would create let's say, for example, the social media post and send back to Cassie for Cassie's approval, and then post. I know they also asked for access to our social media pages. I don't know if that's something said we would or wouldn't do. But in my opinion, that kind of creates double work for our PIO if they're having to kind of come up with the idea
Right, if
and
she's
then
gonna have to do it and then
have
give it to them.
approve it after the fact.
I do feel like, though, what they're trying to do is make sure that they're not messaging something that's not in line with our vision, our priorities, and so you do have to have, if you were to go this route, you would have to have some level of engagement to plan out, like, here's our idea, is that in line with what you guys are thinking? What are the communication programs you want to put out? My wondering is if our communication goals are different, that this may not be the right fit, not that they don't bring value, but it's not in line with what I think I'm hearing the needs are. So perhaps we weren't really clear in what we were looking for, because what they pitched seemed to be in line with what we initially asked for, with the exception of this one, what is an ESD video. And a wondering I have about that is, like, surely they're not the only organization that could produce a what is an ESD video.
sure.
And there's got to be something already created somewhere in the state, because we're not the only ESD.
Right.
So is there like an ESD association? I'm asking out of ignorance, but I have to imagine there's got to be some sort of professional organization that has already started that marketing arm.
Safety.
What's that?
That's the conference that we go to, safety.
Right, I wasn't able to go to that, so I
Right.
missed that. Yeah.
So, but that's
Yeah.
our professional
Right,
conference.
but I think Morgan's question has SafeD
Done a-
produced something that explains what an ESD is, right? That we would just be able to leverage and share that, so.
And if they haven't, as members, perhaps if there's enough interest along all of the membership, perhaps that's something that collectively we can pool in and support so that there's consistent messaging, because I have to imagine that we're not the only ESD that has kind of that identity confusion in the public. Like, it would be, I would think, a benefit to any ESD to have something like that.
And I know Chief and Cassie are working on putting some information regarding that. I think that she's got like one pagers that she's working on with Chief. So I think we are kind of doing some of these things that we want to put out. I think we're trying to talk to this firm to see if they would bring an added benefit to us. While I think they would bring some benefit, I just don't know that the cost supports the benefit that they would bring.
Gotcha.
At least not at this time, I don't think.
It seems to me that maybe they specialize in a lot of things, but it seems like one of the things they specialize in is really more crisis communication.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have some crisis that you're needing to have a campaign over to try to resolve that or communicate.
Yeah, so speaking of that a little bit, I did speak to another organization that they had mentioned that they had worked with for a crisis issue, for crisis support. And when I spoke to the communications director, He did say yes, that they had contracted with them. Their cost was significantly less than the $12,500 monthly. I think they had quoted, well, I don't want to say what theirs was. But he said that he didn't say it was or wasn't a benefit. What he did say was they didn't necessarily bring anything that we weren't already going to do. He said more than anything, they were a great sounding board, and they just kind of gave me cues on what to say and not say.
Okay.
So
More like consultants.
exactly, yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that we've asked is just what their cost would be just to produce a video. Is that right?
Yeah, and at that time, they had verbally said they said they typically don't do that, if I'm remembering correctly.
That's correct.
And I asked if they would do that, what the cost would be, and they said we're guessing probably around $5,000.
Okay.
Again, when I was doing research, talking to other organizations, they said $3,000 would be the most that they would pay for video, and that's on the upper end. And again, that's not to say that ECPR is not going to do a good job.
Sure.
I'm just sharing the information that was presented to me through other organizations.
But they did also come back and say that they were not able to honor that original, I mean, it was a verbal spitball, right? They said
The
they.
5,000?
Right.
Yes.
So they came back in the official proposal to say they would not be able to do it at that cost, correct?
That I don't remember reading.
I believe that was
in the email. Oh, no, I actually just read
Okay.
this part, so the actual proposal.
I'll forward the email to you, Todd, and you can share with the other commissioners, and it is possible I've misremembered that, I don't have the email in front of me, but I thought,
Will you forward it to Chief and let him,
Yes.
that way
I
he
will
can
send it out.
blanket,
Okay.
send it out? Yeah.
And then again, just in the research that I did separately from ECPR, typical cost for a small local PR averages $2,000 to $5,000 a month. What they call a boutique PR would be $5,000 to $12,000 a month. Large regional PR firms, $15,000 and up. And again, this is just on searching that I've done. Typical PR for a fire department our size is anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000. When I was looking at PR firms with how like the biggest concern with using PR firms, it always came up saying, do not pay premium prices for something that if you have an in-house PIO, don't pay premium prices for something that they can already do. So that's just another consideration. And Morgan just pointed out the intellectual property, that belongs to them. I don't know if that means we can't have it at the end. I don't know.
because I did ask that,
Yeah,
whatever
and-
content is created belongs to us, right?
And I thought they said yes,
I
but
believe they
this
said
reads
yes
a little
also.
bit differently.
Yeah.
Interesting. So they say it belongs to them? If whatever,
I thought in the meeting they said it belonged to us.
That was my understanding
Yeah.
too, and then I saw that.
but you said this is
This
differently?
reads a little bit differently than that,
Interesting.
yes.
Okay. But I do want to say, even the fact that we had them come present and give us a proposal on that is in no way an indication of Cassie's not doing her job, because Cassie is doing a fantastic job with getting things out there. I mean, more than it ever has been. So we don't have to have action on this item. I think you guys were just bringing this back. I think we would only have action if someone is
If we were adopting.
motioning that we engage with these folks.
You know, as I sit here thinking about it, I know we, again, trying to be conservative with taxpayer dollars, and communication is such a vital arm that it took us several years to get to the point where we hired Cassie or a PIO to fill that position, but to justify it, we tied it with other duties. If we were thinking of spending $75,000 and we have the talent in-house, one wonders if the better money spent is
Bringing her completely on as a PIO and not.
or
Or
working
an
towards a
assistant.
goal
Right.
of bringing additional communication specialists in. And maybe there are some stop gaps or possible things that we can do. For example, working with the high school CTE communications and media program to do specialized videos for, like, telling what is an ESD story. Cassie obviously would have oversight of the content, and then working with, because I remember when I was interviewed, or when I ran for mayor, and there was a segment done by a youngster that, very competent young man, included a kind of a light debate between myself and the mayor, and they did a really well done job. And it may be that there are some things, if we support Cassie by allowing her to maybe reach out to the high school. I don't know if UCheck's program has opportunities for internships. I'm not saying they do this for free, but maybe the money better spent initially, maybe working towards adding on full-time capacity or equipment necessary to do this kind of work.
I will say, you mentioned you were at STEM Nation and some of the CTE stuff and all that. They just built a brand new studio at the high school studio. They also have a podcast room. I mean, and I feel pretty sure the district would be more than welcoming to partner with.
Right, and it's a sidebar, but Stephen mentioned something about metrics, and I don't want to add any work to Chief and Mary Ann and also to Cassie, but maybe once a month there is a presentation similar to what we have from Eric and what we have from Chief Bocanegra, which is an update on the metrics. How many people are accessing these social, because you used to do that for the district, and Noel would bring metric reports, and that may give us time to breathe as commissioners and realize maybe there's money to be spent, but maybe it's better spent in-house.
I do think that, obviously firefighting is evolving, and so much of it requires community engagement. Like, there are some things proactively that each of us can do that sets ourselves up less likely, for example, to impact fire safety in the area. And so I think those are the things that strengthen the ESD, the proactive measures that each of us can take if we were made aware of it. So the question I had about, are there things proactively? I have solar panels. Is there something I should be doing as a homeowner to be a responsible homeowner with solar panels? I think that is worth investment, maybe not this, but I actually had mentioned to Chief that there are so many community education opportunities out there that at some point we are going to have to prioritize something that frees up whomever is going to be in that role to be able to be dedicated. Because it's not only community education, but it's also fostering, again, those good working relationships in the community so that everybody understands, what we all contribute towards for overall public safety.
Commissioners, if I could interject myself here. If you will remember last year during the budget process when we started this was a way that we could get the Fire Life Safety Educator program. That was what we were going towards. We saw the opportunity to do dual role because those uneducated ones of us were trying to do all this communication stuff. Again, down the road, I think there's an opportunity to break the two positions apart. I would defer that, though, to the person who's the supervisor, and that's Fire Marshal Woods. That's not a board responsibility. That's not my responsibility. That comes from the fire marshal to see if there's the work there to do that. It only takes money with anything that we do. And you heard the report from Andreas. We're in the middle of budget right now. If we can do that this year, then we can look at that. If we can't, then that becomes something that we make a priority down the road. We have plans on what we want to do. Some of the things, the good ideas that have been presented by some of the board members, we absolutely can do because we don't have the technology, we don't have the time. Because I will remind you that this position is Fire Life Safety and Communications, or PIO. You saw from a PIO standpoint, 2 o'clock in the morning, the PIO was out there standing on the side of the road reporting on the fire that went on. Oh, and by the way, then the next day there's Fire Life Safety programs to go on. Commissioner Hubbard, what you're talking about is a Fire Life Safety education program. The things that we did at the school at STEM is Fire Life Safety education. So fire life safety education is really, really broad, while it overlaps with getting the message out. To do the communication piece like, say, the school district does, or maybe the city or some of those, we're not in a position yet to do any of those.
Right. Okay. Okay. Is anybody?
Thank you for doing the
Yeah,
research.
yeah, thank y'all for
Appreciate
meeting
that.
with them. Is there any motions or anything anybody needs
I
to
don't
make on
think
this? Okay, okay. I mean, can be an ongoing discussion
Yeah.
and continue to,
And
Visit about
the recommendation or the item that Commissioner Gideon just brought up, we can create a communications tab in here to show how many things happen from social media.
yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
and I apologize, I don't think we need to keep dumping. I think it's important for us to have that metric, because if you bring a recommendation through Eric, for another person down the road, we've got data to help drive that decision. But it also can show the public what the engagement is as well, and where we're finding they're engaging with our material the most likely.
And I think what we can do too, we can go to the fire marshal's report, and while he has it tabbed as public education, we may expand on that a little bit. Can we do that, Eric? And okay.
Thank you.
It's almost a community relations piece, would kind
It
of
is.
Yeah.
encompass both a communications person and
Yeah.
your fire
Yeah.
life safety.
Okay, all right, good discussion, thank y'all. Item 4, discuss, consider, take appropriate action on a report from Carlton Law Firm on legislative items. Anything, John?
No, Chief and I are gonna meet and talk with Larry afterwards.
Okay,
Plus, you also have in your packet, Larry sent out to us, it's titled 138 at the top. That's all the legislative things that
Oh, yeah.
safety, it would be safety's watching those, correct, John?
Back in again.
Yes, well, yeah.
So you have that.
Okay. Number 5, discuss, consider, take appropriate action on briefing statement 2602, purchase of land for fire station number 6.
No additional report at this time.
Okay, thank you. 6, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action on the city of Round Rock annexations of WC ESD number 3.
You have copies of the letters that were both emailed and mailed to the city of Round Rock. They were mailed and emailed to the appraisal district, and they were emailed to the comptroller and mailed to the comptroller regarding the resolution that you passed last week.
Okay. Typically, response time on that, is there a typical?
John?
Okay.
No.
I kind of figured. Okay, so we just wait. Okay. All right, and number 7, discuss, consider, take appropriate action on sales and use tax sharing agreement with the city of Hutto. Do we have anything on that?
That's up to you if you need to go into executive session and talk with the attorney and Amy, or if there's nothing at this time.
Was there something new?
Council
that
is
would be-
recommending it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We will, at 1:35, we will adjourn to executive session for consultation with our attorney. Okay, 2:23, we are returning from executive session, and I believe we have a motion.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept the proposal by ECPR, not to exceed the proposal that they sent us. And I'd also like to ask Chief and the subcommittee to go back and define the specific elements of the agreement that we would like to implement.
Okay, have a motion? Is there a second?
I have a question. It's to accept the proposal, is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I may have misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah, do you want to reread it?
Sure. To accept the proposal that was presented by ECPR, because there's multiple options in there.
Correct.
Not to exceed the proposal, and to ask the chief and the subcommittee to go back to ECPR and then formally identify which specific elements of the agreement that we would like to implement.
Okay, I think I understand what Stephen is asking.
Let me second it so that you can have discussion.
Okay, we have a second. Now further discussion. Yes. I think
We're agreeing to engage.
I think we are agreeing to engage them to,
I'm happy to rescind my motion and restate it.
okay. Because I think we want to engage them, but we want to discuss with them what is in the proposal and not to exceed the cost that they have proposed. Is that correct?
So I'm happy, I asked John.
Yeah. So as I understand, what the board was trying to accomplish was to approve engaging ECPR
Right.
for services that are outlined in their proposal at an upper limit of what they proposed. But
Yeah.
to have the subcommittee and chief negotiate with ECPR for the scope of the services
Right.
that are going to be provided.
Right.
So it could be everything, or it could be a limit of not everything that ECPR proposed.
So her motion, and I think this is what
Accomplishes that.
it does, even though it says to accept the proposal.
Yes.
Because
it's
the
fine.
proposal is
Because it's
defining what their
qualified
services
with-
are.
Then it's qualified with the statement of, provided that, it's not to exceed, provided that the subcommittee and chief go figure out what the scope of the services are gonna be.
Did you have that part in there? About the subcommittee?
Yes, I
Okay.
did. So why don't I resend it?
Sure.
Okay, so are you okay, Henry, if I resend the motion?
Yes.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to engage ECPR based on the proposal that was provided, not to exceed the proposal that was provided, and ask the chief and the subcommittee to define the specific elements of the agreement we would like to implement.
And I'll second.
Okay, have a second. Any further discussion on that? No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes. 5-0. Okay, one final thing. We need to talk about June and July board meetings. Obviously, June and July are when a lot of people do vacations, and I, for one, have vacation scheduled for June 25th, which is when our June meeting is, and also have one that coincides with our July meeting. So, you guys are welcome to have the June 25th meeting. I will not be here.
I will also be out of town June 25th.
Okay.
Can we move it to the 11th?
I'm out of town the 8th, week of the 8th.
What about the 18th?
I will be out on both the 18th and the 25th, both of those weeks. Now, if it sounds like you'll be gone the 11th.
I'll be gone the second week of June.
Okay. Is anybody else gone the second week of June?
No.
So 4 of us would be available then. Is anybody else out the week of the 15th through
No.
the 19th besides me?
The only conflict I have is we have a standing LEPC meeting on the same day of on the Thursday, the 18th, so it'd have to be a different day, but I'm available all week. And certainly I can come after hours.
Okay. Again, if it's the week that the 18th falls the week of the 15th or the week of the 22nd, I'm not here. Now, obviously, someone can fill in for me as,
You don't have to have it on Thursday. You could do it on the 30th, the 29th or 30th, and still meet your June obligation.
okay.
And I'm available for that.
Are y'all available for, is everybody available June 30th?
I will,
I'm not.
no, I'll be flying back. I don't know what time I'll be home.
Okay,
So do we want to go to the 11th then?
So it's gotta be the week of the 11th.
Yeah.
so, yeah,
11th works for me.
so we'll just do the 11th, Henry, but you'll be out.
Just a question, the 18th? Who all was out the 18th?
Me.
And
Nope, just Todd.
I
Just
think just
Todd.
me. So, again, you guys can meet on the
18th
18th.
puts more time between your meeting from now
Yeah.
to then.
Yeah,
Right.
that's just too.
Well, my meeting which is related to emergency management and Chief will be there as well as the
Oh, that's
LAP. But it's at 1:30, so we have time to squeeze in a meeting
Oh, yeah.
that day, but would maybe have to call it 11:30.
Well, I think your meeting would carry more importance than being at the LEPC meeting.
Agreed,
In my opinion.
agreed. And we can always reach out to them and let them know.
We can tell them that we.
So that's a non
Yeah,
sequitur.
we'll be absent due to.
No, I think it's the 18th.
Oh, the 18th?
Okay, so the 18th, is that right?
Yes.
12 o'clock? Okay, so our June 25th meeting will be moved to June 18th at 12 p.m. And then can we also talk about July? Because I'm also out the July 23rd, which is the regularly scheduled ESD board meeting. I could do again, don't have to move it just on account of me, but I would be back, or I could do it the 16th
16th
or the
works.
30th.
I can do both of those dates.
Rob and I are both going to be gone, starting the 16th, right?
Oh, on the 16th?
Yeah, from the 16th. I will be gone due to a meeting and then family, that whole next from the 16th till the 27th.
What if we did it Wednesday the
the
15th?
15th,
I'm available.
I'm available.
Yeah.
Work?
Yeah.
Okay, so our July meeting then, and y'all can do the 15th?
Well, I'll be no, I can't. Rob, are you gonna be here on the 15th?
Of July?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. 'Cause
And I'll also be in town at work on Thursday the 16th. I don't leave until Saturday.
Oh, okay. Well, if you were gonna be gone on Wednesday anyway, then we'll just keep it on
16th.
Thursday, the
Yeah.
16th. Would that work for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so we'll move our July meeting from the 23rd up to the 16th at 12 p.m.
Since you're looking at meetings, jump to November and December. Because those are the typical months that we have to move due to Thanksgiving and
Right.
Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
And that really allows us now to get that on the schedule, right, Marion?
Yeah, because Thanksgiving Day is the 26th,
The 19th?
which would be,
We'll all be in town.
yeah, no, I will not.
The 19th,
So November the 19th, the week before
Yeah.
Thanksgiving? Is that good?
That works for me.
Okay. And December,
Be Christmas.
Christmas Eve.
you can, you might look at Monday or Tuesday, that Christmas week if you want to, or moving it down to the following week.
Instead of the 17th, instead of the week before?
Am I in the right year? Oh, wait, I'm not in the right year. Hang on.
Yeah, because the following week is New Year's.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was in the wrong week, wrong year.
Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve? Pick your poison.
17th.
17th?
17th works.
That works.
Does that work?
And I might remind the board, just since you're looking at calendar, when we get into August, we have to have the board available to vote on the taxes and the budget.
Yes.
Right.
And I will be meeting with the subcommittee probably
Soon.
the first full week of August. We'll start meeting with the subcommittee to go over the budget. Because we won't have the finalized until
Right.
probably the 27th of July, which is that Monday.
Okay. All right, so to reiterate, June 18th, July 16th, November 19th, December 17th. Got it? Yep. Okay. All right. 2:33, we are adjourned.